with this. All right, so let's say I would have you take your bolster and put it up towards the front horizontally for underneath your back. And then, well, I guess it's up to you. We'll use one bolster or pillows here, and then the other one for under the knees. So whatever you want, whatever makes more sense. And then the head can come down to the floor, or if it feels like too far, you can use a blanket under your head. And as always, just, speak up if you are like if something's not working for you, or if you need some help figuring it out. All right, so just settling in to this heart opening kind of initial relaxation. And we'll take some time to get into the breath, taking some deeper, fuller breaths, and really just kind of stretching into the chest, the rib cage with those inhalations. And also taking our time to kind of transition, right? Transitioning away from the day into this practice, this special sacred time for self-care that you've carved out. Time to tend to your body, tend to your spirit, to your emotions, and just give space for whatever is present. Give space for and be present with whatever is going on for you today. So in a restorative practice, we get to breathe both into physical tension that we notice in the body, and we also can breathe into emotional or mental tension that comes up. Knowing that each inhale is a gift of helping to create space, and each exhale is an opportunity to let go. And I think this idea of creating space is really nice, especially when people kind of have the misconception that meditation is supposed to be clearing your mind. In reality, meditation is about learning about your mind. So in this stillness and this quiet, it's okay whatever thoughts come up. We're not trying to avoid thinking. We are here to be with and to observe. So let's go ahead and take another 3 deep breaths here. And when you're done with those 3 breaths, you can roll over to your side, and we'll get the props out from underneath us and roll back onto your back. And you can have your legs straight, or you can bend your knees and bring your feet to the mat, whichever you prefer. And just giving ourselves a moment to readjust. Maybe letting your knees sway side to side. And let's go ahead and pick up our left leg, and we'll pull the left leg in. You're welcome to take hold with your hands, or if you have a strap nearby and you want to use a strap here, you can do that. And we'll just give it a little hug. And if you want, you could kind of continue rocking side to side a little bit, or make some circles with this leg. Maybe giving it one more tight squeeze, and then we'll switch. Bring the right knee in. And again, just kind of moving around however you want to here. And then we'll bring that foot down as well, and let's come into some pelvic tilts here. So keeping the feet on the ground, we'll push into the feet and draw the belly button down towards the floor, and then releasing, allowing the pelvis to tilt away, finding that little gap underneath the low back. And then rocking back and forth. Maybe an inhale as you tilt the pelvis forward. An exhale as you rock it back, if that feels good to you. then if you want to, you could switch to some circles for the pelvis, and you're welcome to do that with the feet on the floor, or you could pick the feet up, bring the knees in, and circle the knees around. And either way, we'll do a few in each direction, and then we can switch and do some going the other way. When you're satisfied there, we'll stretch the legs long. Let's reach the arms up overhead for a stretch. And let's roll on over to our side and come on up. Excuse me, I'm yawning. All right, and let's go right into our supported child's pose. A nice counter stretch to the back bend that we started in. So, always welcome to get a blanket for under your knees, to get your supports built up here in whatever way you like. That is going to be nice and supportive for the whole upper body. You might like to have your bolster at an incline so that it's a little higher up by your head, or maybe not. And we'll come into this and stay for about 4 minutes. So I'll let you know when you might turn your head the other way, if you want to, when we're halfway through. And just letting yourself settle in, making some observations maybe here on what this shape feels like today, what the breath feels like in this shape today. Especially in the back, you might kind of notice some of the effects from that back bend and how it feels to come into this after that. Let's turn our head the other direction if you want to. even kind of circle that ankle around to get a stretch for the ankle, for the toes, the backs of the toes, the tops of the toes. And just switching when you're ready. And then coming back to our tabletop, let's get a couple of cat-cows in there. So letting the abdomen release as we bring the heart forward, lift the head and lift the hips. And then rounding the back, tucking the tailbone under, drawing the navel up towards the spine and chin towards the chest. Just going back and forth at your own pace. And if you like, you might also do a little bit of shifting back and forth towards hips towards the heels. And then I like to kind of slide my hands a little further forward. And then I can come forward and let my hips drop down a little bit. Ooh, you know what's even better? Let's try this. Let's get our bolster, put it in the middle. So we've got our hands on one side and our knees on the other. And we can come forward. We get a little catch ourselves with the bolster to get a little stretch this way. And then as we come back, our forehead can touch the bolster. And if you feel like hanging out, actually let's go right into it. Let's come over and down onto the bolster. I'm kind of inching myself forward so that it's just right under my hips. And I'm gonna make a pillow with my hands, and you can turn your head one direction if you want, or if you want to just let the forehead rest on the hands. That's also fine. Let me know if this is not feeling good to you, but if it is, then we'll hang out here for a couple minutes. If your head is turned one direction and you want to, you can turn it the other direction. All right, we'll take another few breaths here. And then we'll press ourselves back up. And we'll have a seat. Okay, so I wanna offer a little bit of a different twist today, just for fun. And feel free to go back to, like, you know, whatever twist you typically like to do if this doesn't really do it for you, but you can give it a try. So you might want to have a blanket for your head. And what we're gonna do in this twist is lift up our hips. So either with your bolster or with pillows, because we'll use our other bolster or pillows for between our legs. We will have this here for the hips. So kind of sitting on it and then laying back, and the other bolster between the legs, and then opening up the arms into our twist. So this just is a little bit different, obviously, than your typical twist laying on the floor, and it's just positioning kind of the pressure on the internal organs a little bit differently, as well as changing up, you know, sort of the stretch that you feel. So again, you can try it, see how it feels, and either stay in it, or if you want to get that bolster out from underneath you at some point, you can, but we'll kind of settle into our twist on side one here. As always, if you need some extra support for underneath your shoulder, you can take that. And allowing your breaths to start to expand here in this shape. Starting to notice any parts of the body that are holding on to tension. And we'll move towards our last 2 or 3 breaths on this side. And when you're ready, we can get the bolster out from between the legs, and then however it makes sense for you. I'm kind of rolling and then shifting so that I'm staying on the bolster here, but taking a moment to be, face the ceiling, and just pause, maybe even letting the knees sway for a moment. And then when you're ready, we'll get into it on the other side. So I'm gonna shift my hips a little bit in the other direction so that I can let the legs fall over, get my bolster in place, and then extend the arms open. And just letting the head fall wherever it naturally lands. Interestingly for me, I'm kind of noticing I don't want the blanket on this side. So just a nice reminder that our sides might need something different or might be open to something different. So just taking your time to take care of yourself on this side, get comfortable. And then again, start to deepen the breath. Thinking about breathing both into the abdomen and then also up into the chest. So allowing the abdomen to expand, and then continuing the breath up into the rib cage and the chest. Letting those exhales be nice and slow and complete. Towards our last few deep breaths on this side. take the bolster out from underneath us, and I have a couple of options that I want to offer. So one would be that we could use a strap to stretch out the backs of the legs, and the other is that we could put our legs up the wall and then do some kind of variations from there. Do you have a preference?
I guess the strap, because I can't find a wall right now.
Oh, okay. You could also use like a bed or a couch.
Oh, well, I guess I could try my couch.
Okay, you want to do that?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Hopefully you can still hear me can you still hear me from over here?
Yes.
Okay. So bringing our legs up. If you want, you could also lift your hips here. Up to you. I can't reach my bolster, but you would just get the bolster underneath the hips, and what that would do would be that it creates a little bit more of an inversion, because your torso will also be inverted, and so the energy will be moving down towards your throat, which is sort of the intended focal point of this posture, because this is a restorative shoulder stand, in which the whole body is typically inverted. So, again, if you wanted to lift the hips up and get a little bit more of a similar benefit, you could do that, or you could keep your hips down on the ground. And we will just take some time to feel this transition as we start to feel the blood from the legs coming down. Maybe a little bit of a relief, sense of relief, or a sense of ease, or something else that you're noticing. This posture gives a rest to the heart. It's good for our nervous system. It's good for our lymphatic system. And it's good for swelling in the ankles and the legs, and for varicose veins. Maybe falling into a nice rhythm for the breath. We haven't really established that yet this practice, but you might think about inhaling for a count of 4, possibly holding the breath for a count or 2 at the top if you want, and then exhaling and anywhere between a count of 4 and 8, but seeing if you can start to let that exhale last a little bit longer. Slow it down. control it a bit. So gradually you move towards an exhale that is twice as long as the inhale, as long as it's comfortable. Let's start to move a little bit again. We'll wiggle our toes and we can rotate our ankles. And then let us bring the soles of the feet together. Let the knees come out to the sides and come into a little butterfly shape here. You could bring your hands, if you want to, you could press against the thighs with your hands to sort of press the knees away from you if you like that. Or you could let the arms just rest by your sides. You also have the option to let the knees sort of bounce a little bit here if you want. But again, you could also choose to just stay still and breathe. And then let's keep our left leg where it is, and we'll stretch the right leg open and out to the side. And depending on how this is feeling for you, you might flex that foot and sort of engage the muscles of the leg. And I'd say that's if you feel like your leg is sort of like hanging down and it feels heavy. Just activate the legs so that your joints are more protected and we're not hanging off of the hip joint there. And then we'll bring the right leg back in. And then we'll stretch the left leg out to the left. And now keeping the left leg out to the left, let's stretch the right leg out as well. And we can come into a straddle here. And again, I've got both of my legs here engaged and sort of hugging towards the bone to keep the joints protected as I breathe. And then let's go ahead and bring the legs back up. And now we'll bend the knees and bring the feet flat against the wall. And we can kind of walk the feet down, coming into like a squat. So I've got my knees nice and wide here. My feet are sort of off at a diagonal. And then you're welcome to keep your hands kind of on the legs or on the floor, or if you want, you could bring the palms together and the thumbs against the heart. And we'll reach the arms up overhead. Let's stretch the legs back long on the mat. Give your arms that stretch. And then one more stretch that we can do here is the pigeon stretch for the hips. So let's cross our left ankle over our right knee, and then, kind of placing your right foot anywhere that makes sense for you so that you can let the knee kind of push the foot towards you and get a stretch in the left hip. I know, it's a little different when you're on a couch than a wall for this one, so just, I imagine you'll figure it out or you'll ask me a question. And once you are in that position, just taking some nice deep breaths right into that hip stretch. We'll take one more deep breath here. And then straightening the right leg or kind of moving it away from you, and then uncrossing the left. And then we'll go to the other side. Cross the right ankle over the left knee and get yourself into a position to get a stretch for the right hip. And again, one more deep breath here. Straightening out the left leg, uncrossing the right leg. And we will roll over onto your side and just give yourself a moment to relax here on your side. You can let your head rest on your arm or on a pillow. And we're just gonna let some of that energy and the blood come back into the legs after being in that version for quite a while. And when you're ready, we'll make our way back over onto our backs. And we're gonna get set up for our final relaxation for today. So, whatever position that you like to take, excuse me, for your Shavasana is very welcome. You're welcome to build your leg support with your bolsters and pillows if you want to have your legs raised. And whatever else, whatever other shape would feel good to you. We have a nice about 7 minutes. My camera died at the end here. So what I recommend for you is to just spend anywhere from like 3 to 10 minutes, whatever you have time for, to just lay on your back and relax in your final relaxation. Just a time to really absorb all of the benefits from the practice that you had in a neutral position, so that everything is just sort of settling. And so you might set a timer for yourself for when you want to get up and just enjoy some time for relaxation. Thanks for practicing.